greatest co-host in the world, Y2K99. Get ready to rumble!
The tag team champions of the world.
My brotherly crevasse.
That is the best intro I have ever received.
The world. The Buffalo Jets fan.
Yo.
George Fant is a barely above replacement level, pretty good left tackle.
How can you say
Compare
that when
that
he
to
was
an-
top 3 in sack percentage last year for left tackles?
And I think when in doubt, until you have better reason, go with the optimistic view. And our defensive line is going to be giving a lot of people some trouble.
But yeah, it's got to be. I'm with you. I don't like the Nathan's fries when they're like floppy. It's got to be like done really well. You know, it's very hard to teach 6'3" and 4.3 speed. That's very rare. The talent's there. He's just got to put it together mentally.
Right.
To get
You're a
on
cheater.
you, I'm a cheater. So it is the this is weird, man. This is like not working. I don't know how I'm going to fix this. Let me try to fix this. Hide. Oh, here we go. All right. So you guys were watching me just sit there for a while, not knowing what the hell was going on. Knobcraft, you're still pissed at Zach, I see. Can we please send Zach home? Well, I don't know, man. Who is there? Who is there? I mean, yesterday was one of those games where, I mean, Zach took the sacks anyway. He didn't escape that many. So maybe we would have been better off with Joe Flacco or Mike White. Were they both active? Who was active? Who did we even have a choice to bring in? I feel like in the fourth quarter, like after the first 3 drives of 1, 2, 3 and out, it was very clear. Like it didn't have to be he's benched, he's not the guy, he's never getting a chance again. It could have been we're just benching him for the rest of this game and he'll play next week. Right? They could have said that. They could have said this is an important game. Clearly, even though we want to see what we got in Zach Wilson, it was very clear that something was off even worse than before yesterday. Like yesterday was like a different level that I don't think that Zach hit in his stinkiness. Like he had a new level, a new low. He didn't remember the plays. He couldn't focus. He didn't remember the plays because he wasn't looking in the right places. He was throwing the ball to the wrong places. There were guys wide open that he didn't see or he didn't throw. I don't know if the wind, I don't know what happened to this kid. But I think a coaching staff, it's just my opinion. I think you got to say, hey, this is an important game. And maybe we need to take him out of this important game and try something different because we really can't do worse. We're 1, 2, and 3 out every series. How could it get any worse than this? But it's right when there was like, I think that after the third 1, 2, 3 and out in the third quarter, I was like, this kid is done. Like he's doing, like I was just like had my head in my hands like this. I couldn't watch it anymore. It was so bad. It was so bad. And he was so incapable at that point of doing anything that I felt like it was almost like a mercy to take him out. Like something's wrong. Like obviously he's sick, right? Something's not right. Maybe he doesn't feel good. Something's off. Take the kid out. and put the backup quarterback in and see what happens. And if we lose, we lose. But he was so bad. It's like he was high or something. Like something was wrong. He wasn't him even. I don't even know what to say. It wasn't Zach Wilson even. It's not like it's like, and people were saying, you see how bad he is. You see how bad he is. I was like, no, he wasn't that. That's not who Zach Wilson has been. Like, this was the worst version. I'd rather have the interceptions than this version. This was the worst version of him, the worst version of him we've seen since he came out of college, by a mile. I mean, if you watch the All 22, you'll throw up. There was a play where Denzel Mims was not covered. He was like running down the field uncovered. Oh, and Zach was looking in that direction and didn't throw it. All he had to do was throw it to somebody, like you're having a catch. Like, just throw him the ball. Touchdown. Any kind of throw, touchdown. It was unbelievable. If you watch the All 22, it's almost as if it was on purpose. It really felt like when you watch it, you're going to think that looks like a guy who doesn't want to win. Like somebody got a gun to his mother's head and he's being threatened by some guys in Vegas. I just hope we don't sacrifice this talented team over this kid to figure it out. The locker room doesn't deserve it. Well, we're young right now, but like, I don't think we can go another year if he doesn't turn it around. Like, I think we can go the next 7 games with him, even though it is a playoff opportunity that we're playing with and throwing away if he continues to play bad. But I honestly believe it or not, I think we're going to beat Chicago, especially if Fields doesn't play. If Fields plays, I don't know. I got to rethink my position. But I think that if Fields is really hurt and doesn't play, we'll beat them. We'll beat Chicago. We will. They're horrible. Without Fields, there'll be nothing. All they are is Fields' running game. That's all they are. They are absolutely just horrendous. So if we go 7-4, we see how he plays. I mean, I think they want to see what they got. They need to know for sure. But at the same time, next year, if he doesn't shape up, if it's just more of this, and they can't go another year. We can't waste next year. We can't waste year 3 of Elijah Moore and Michael Carter and the Carter II and all the guys we brought in. We can't waste them. AVT. We can't waste that talent year 3. And then you got Sauce year 2, Garrett Wilson year 2, JJ year 2, Brees Hall coming back year 2. Like, you can't waste it. You can't waste it. So yeah, you let him play the rest of the year, I guess. But they could have taken him out for 1 quarter. That pisses me off. And they could have started him next week. But why couldn't they take him out for 1 quarter? Just take him out. Maybe we win that game. Were they afraid of a quarterback controversy? We needed to win that game. Saleh said by all means necessary. He lied. Because if it was by all means necessary, he would have benched Zach. And he would have taken he would have put in Mike White or Flacco, who was active. There's no question about it in my mind. So he should have said, by all means necessary, except benching Zach Wilson. Because at that point, it didn't matter how bad Zach Wilson was. It absolutely didn't matter. They were not going to bench him because he was as bad as a quarterback could be. Yeah, every year is the risk of you're not going to get your guys back. It's true. It's true. What up, Jeremy? Thanks for answering my DM yesterday. That was a rough day. It was a very rough day. All we could do is start thinking ahead to Chicago. Like, what did Belichick used to say? On to Chicago. On to the Bears. That's all we could do. We just need to get to the next game, play the next game, and watch them win. Like, the Jets just got to come out and win the next game. Get back to 7-4. Start to feel a little bit better. 7-4 is very, very digestible. 7-4, and then we worry about the game after that. 1 game at a time. Jeremy. Which game would you cite as where Zach Wilson played his best? The Pittsburgh game, probably, because that was the game that we were down by 10, and we needed him to like, we couldn't rely on the run. We needed him, and he led 2 touchdown drives. So that was his best game, probably the best in his career, only because of the fourth quarter. Then there were a couple of good moments last year, right? He played good against Tampa Bay. He played good against Jacksonville. He could play, he played okay. He had a great first half against the Eagles last year. And he had moments. He had moments where he's certainly better than he was yesterday. So yesterday doesn't have to be who he is. Yesterday doesn't have to define who he is. Rex Ryan answers Jeff Cass comments on Jeff Locker Room. Rex Ryan basically said the truth. He says Zach's post-game press conference was a disaster, which it was because he didn't take accountability. And it's going to put the locker room in danger. Now, does that mean Zach lost the locker room? I don't think that's definitive. We have good coaches. I think Saleh might be able to fix it, but he's definitely can't ignore it and brush this under the rug. The wide receiver room is pissed. People are liking Twitter videos that are, like showing Zach doing bad, and Jet players are liking it. That is really bad. They need to. It's a potential disaster, because if we lose the locker room, if Zach loses the locker room, it's over. Season's over, unless they put in another quarterback. You can't have a quarterback play with guys who he lost. Like, they won't connect with him. There'll be no chemistry. It won't happen. So if Zach doesn't come and apologize, if he doesn't somehow make this right with them, then they have to bench him, because then you're just throwing away games. It's like fixing games. It's like choosing to lose games, because you cannot have a quarterback that's out of sync with the wide receivers. If they're not talking, like, he has to fix it. Zach has to go in with his tail between his legs and say, I was the reason we lost. It's completely my fault. I apologize. It's an insult to the effort that everyone here made, because we lost this game because of my ineptitude. That's the only way to fix it, is to just confront it and admit it. I don't care. I mean, there's so few fans left trying to find some other excuses. I don't care about the punt and the missed tackles. I don't. That's baloney. It's like, mistakes are going to happen every game. I'm not going to point out every mistake from every player every game. Mistakes are going to happen. Missed calls are going to happen. None of that would have hurt us yesterday if Zach would have just played like the 28th best quarterback in the league. Like, I'm not even saying he had to play like a top 15 quarterback, a top 28 quarterback. He just had to play like an NFL quarterback. If he could have just played like an NFL quarterback, any quarterback, not even a good one. Jacoby Brissett from Cleveland. If he could have played anything, just be a quarterback. He did not play like an NFL quarterback. He played like a guy who didn't belong in the NFL at all. Backup quarterbacks would be cut for playing like that. And it's not emotion. That's the truth. So that's not Zach Wilson. That's not like Zach Wilson. That's not like any Zach Wilson we've seen this year, in my opinion. It's not. Or last year. I don't think we've ever seen Zach this bad. So something was wrong, and they should have benched him. And they could have brought him in next week. They could have just said, today's not your day. You're having the worst day of your life. It was worse than 3 weeks ago when we played New England. It was worse, much worse. At least that game, he was completing passes. This looked like something was off. Like, if they would have told me afterwards he had 103-degree fever and the flu, I would have believed it. I would have said, oh, that's what it looked like. It looked like a guy who had 103 fever and the flu. That's what we were watching. The guy wasn't there. He wasn't even in the space that we were seeing him in. It's like he was in another world. That was the last jersey I brought, because I believe if he gets it between the years, he can be one of the best. I think the next current jersey I will get is Q and Sauce. Yeah, I got a Sauce jersey. Q, I'm waiting for them to sign him. That's the problem with Q. What if you get his jersey and they don't sign him? Jeez, what if they... Ooh, bad. That's why you go to Parts Unknown. You order it from Parts Unknown. You get it for $35. Throwbacks is not a bad idea, right? You can never go wrong with the Curtis Martin jersey. My Wayne Corbett jersey is, timeless. You can always do Joe Klecko. You do a Joe Klecko. You could do a Wesley Walker. Curtis Martin's a solid one. You could do Mawai if you like the big guys. You could do Mawai for sure. You could do Jabrickashaw Ferguson. We had some great players that you could do. There's guys you could do. You could do Joe Namath jersey. But Curtis Martin, man, that'll stand the test of time, right? He's the best running back we've ever had. So, you're saying Salah bench Zach? No, he didn't. Did he at practice or something? What are you talking about? Is Zach not starting next week? I don't know what you're talking about. Noel. The problem is that he didn't bench him. He should have benched him. He should have benched him the fourth quarter. But do I not know something, people? There's no way. There's no way he benched him. He said that yesterday. He said there's no chance he's replacing him. So he didn't bench him. Unless he benched him because of the way he's acting, not taking accountability. Salah spoke with the media. You're saying that he benched him? If he benched him, it's not because of his play. If he benched him, it's because he didn't take accountability. Oh, he didn't commit to him. He said he needs to look at the tape. That's shocking. Can you imagine? Wow. That's shocking. If he benches him, if he doesn't start Zach Wilson, I'm telling you it's because of what Zach Wilson said, because he didn't take accountability. So I have a Mangold jersey. That's smart. That cost me $106 that I never worn because I didn't like how it felt. Well, that's a bummer. Maybe sell it or hang it on the wall if you can get him to sign it one day. Find out where he's going to be. You know what I mean? Buy a lot of his barbecue sauce. Maybe he'll sign it for you on the number and you can hang it. Hang it on the wall or something. He needs to look at the tape. Well, if he looks at the tape, he's going to bench him because the tape is not good. What are we going to do? Who are we going to start? He said they're elevating the quarterback position, but how? That's wild. I didn't know that. That should be the name of this video. I should be doing a video right now. That should be the big news. I'm an idiot. Do I even care about my YouTube channel? I should be like headline. Salah might bench Zach. That's crazy. That's crazy. If it's true, my God, can you imagine? We move on from Zach and wow. That's kind of like, to me, that's just accepting he's a bust. Wow. That would be sad and maybe the best thing for us at the same time. Well, I became a fan in 2008. My first jersey was a Favre. I wanted an LT jersey because he's my favorite halfback of all time. The glory years. I actually have I have a Chargers LT jersey, believe it or not. My brother gave it to me. I may have gave it back to him, though. But I've stuck through and will continue to do so until I die. Me too. It's too late to go back, man. I've been a fan over 80% of my life. There's nothing I could do about it now. Baba Booey, since my question got passed up. What the hell are you talking about? What was your question? Did Elijah Moore's attitude situation rub off on Zach, or is this totally different? It's totally different. There's nothing to do with it. Zach was frustrated after the game, and for whatever reason, he's being a little baby. He's like, it was the wind. It was everybody was bad. I mean, that's the way he's acting right now. He's not being a leader. What was so hard about it? When you play that bad, why is it so hard to come out and say, I'm the reason we lost? Flacco has 5 touchdowns in 3 games. Zach has 3 in 7 games. Yeah, maybe it's Flacco. Maybe it's Flacco. I mean, what can we do? Salah said they're not committing to Wilson this week, and they're evaluating the quarterback position to see who starts this week. That's wild. It's really going to be over for him. If he gets benched, and if Flacco comes in and we win, and Flacco throws 3 touchdowns, Zach's done. It's over. It really will. It will be over. What would it cost us for taking Garoppolo in the offseason, draft pick wise? It wouldn't cost us anything. He's going to be a free agent. So it wouldn't cost us a thing except money. And there's a good chance we can get him for 15 to 20 million, probably. Unless somebody else wants him and it's a negotiating war, because nobody wanted Jimmy G last year. There's rumors that I was told there's rumors that Salah and LaFleur don't like him, but I think that's nuts because to me, there's no better free agent quarterback or available quarterback next year than Jimmy G for us, because he knows our system. He comes in day one and knows the playbook. There's little adjustments, but basically he knows he knows the Shanahan. He knows the scheme. He knows the scheme. He brought a team to the Super Bowl. If we had Jimmy G this year, we'd be 8-2. We'd be the best team. Can you imagine? Like, if Zach could just play like Jimmy G and AVT and Brees Hall never got hurt, we're Super Bowl contenders. And that's not an embellishment. I'm not exaggerating. If we had Brees Hall, AVT, and Zach Wilson played like Jimmy G, we are a Super Bowl team. We have a chance to make the Super Bowl. I'm not saying we definitely make the Super Bowl. I'm saying we'd have a chance. We'd be one of the top 3 teams in the AFC fighting it out at the end. We'd have a legitimate shot. But that's not the case. Zach didn't work out, or it doesn't look like he's going to. And we got key injuries. I mean, that you can't say enough how bad these injuries are. It's like Brees Hall was our what's his face? The guy I'm fucking blank. Brees Hall was our Jonathan Taylor for Indianapolis. Henry for Tennessee. That's who he was. And we lost him. And then we lost our best offensive lineman on top of all the others we lost. I'm not trying to make excuses. It's the truth. I supported Zach as much as anyone, but like you, Jeremy, I'm sick of giving the kid excuses. We can't anymore, especially when he has no accountability. Yeah, I mean that did it for me. It's always worse when they always like. I always give up on them less for what they do on the field and more for what they say for a player. And what he did yesterday was he pulled a Ryan Leaf. That's what he did yesterday. He pulled a Ryan Leaf. Now, if anybody you don't know, Ryan Leaf was a huge bust for the San Diego Chargers years ago. And the worst part about him is he took no accountability. He blamed his teammates. He blamed He blamed everyone else except for himself. He wasn't a team player. And Zach Wilson did that yesterday. He made a whole bunch of excuses, and he wouldn't take accountability for playing like crap. And everybody saw it. Jet star Quinnen Williams defends Zach Wilson amid criticism. That doesn't sound real, but maybe he did. I would hope so. I didn't know it was this bad. Like, I didn't know in one day. Now, I mean, it was so bad that even after the Buffalo game, think of how bad he had to have played yesterday that they're considering benching him and giving up on the plan. That's how bad he played. They're probably looking at the playbook. They probably realized he doesn't know the playbook. Maybe he's doing drugs. How do you forget the playbook? It's not some serious mental hangups, you know. It has ruined the career of some very talented athletes, like former LLB Mitchell pitcher Rick Ike. That's right. He had to become a hitter. For whatever reason, he developed a bad case of the yips. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Nah. You insulted him just a little bit. You were a little bit out of line yourself. Grandizer has a question. Jeremy, is Zach Wilson's performance yesterday super cause for concern or knee-jerk? Oh, no, come on. In scale 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high of concern, this goes beyond just having a bad day. No, this is a 10. This is disastrous. I mean, you're looking at Vervain, guys like me, we were the biggest Zach fans, the biggest supporters, and he lost us. We're scratching our head thinking we need a quarterback. If you lose us, your biggest supporters, I mean, it's pretty much, it's almost, I don't know anyone who's really believing in Zach Wilson anymore at this point. I don't know if there is anybody. I don't know anybody. I know people are upset, but I don't know anybody that's sitting here saying it's baloney, Zach will be fine. Nobody went on Twitter yesterday. No one came in here and said Zach will be fine. Like, we're in a panic right now. We're in a panic. This is a mess. We're in a panic. We gave up the second overall round pick. We invested such a valuable commodity, the second pick overall in the draft on this kid. And now here we are without a quarterback. This is a disaster for this organization. And I don't think it's a knee-jerk reaction. Not the way he played. It's not like he threw a bad interception at the end of the game. And it's a knee-jerk reaction to one pass. You got to watch the tape. You can't even stomach it if you watch it. I can't even tell you how open these guys were. They were so open. There were receivers wide open, and he didn't throw the ball to them. I mean, it's really, really bad. I don't know. Maybe he was faking it the whole time and he doesn't understand the playbook. Maybe he's just not smart enough. Like, I don't know. Because it looked like a guy who did not know the playbook. If you watch back the all 22. He didn't know the playbook. He didn't know what the play was. He didn't know where his receivers were going to be. He knew nothing. The kid was playing terrified. He was like a deer in headlights the whole game. Yeah, hitting the like button would help. Thanks. Oh, I didn't watch your game. I just heard what you said with the Jets news info. I turn into your insights. Wonder what Adam, Tigo, and Dom C have to say about Zach Wilson. Well, if you watch the post-game show, Buffalo is not happy with Zach Wilson. He's a little calmer than me, but he's not happy with Zach Wilson. Dom C has looked at the tape and said he wants to throw up. He doesn't even want to talk about it because it's so bad. So there was nothing in the tape that clears Zach Wilson. Like, the hope was, watch the tape, everybody's covered. Okay, it's not his fault. That's not what happened. He was the tape shows it's even worse than you think. That's what the tape shows. Even worse than you think. That's what Dom C said. He's the one that watched the All 22. And he told me, even worse than you think. How could it be even worse than I think? I saw on Twitter Mike Namnia or whatever put up some plays. Disgusting. Wide open guys. We should have won that game easily. Easily. Like, Mims was open on one play where it was an easy touchdown. It was play and catch. It was wide open, uncovered. He broke loose, wide open. Just throw him the ball, touchdown. We would have won that game easily with any other quarterback. Makes no sense. Thank you. Appreciate that, my friend John. I am very excited about it. It's very nice to hit that before the year is up. But, I think I started the channel like November 24th, I want to say. So I was running out of time to get to 2,000. I did it. My first year I hit 2,000. So thanks. I appreciate it. Super excited about it. Why can't we have a normal season? Well, we're getting there. That's all I could say, Jacob. We're getting there. We are. Hey, Jeremy, how do you watch the Jets games when you live where you live? I live in South Carolina, originally from Oneonta, nice party school. I found a VPN, and now I can watch instead of paying for Sunday ticket. I get it. I have DirecTV, the satellite company, and there's the NFL package that I've only had to pay for a couple of times. And my wife is a student, technically. She's back at school. She has a school address. So I'm allowed to pay the school price. So I think it was like $99 for every NFL game. And then what happens is every year we're kind of like, whenever we're out of contract, I threaten to quit DirecTV. And they say, is there anything we could do? And I say, well, if you gave me the NFL package, I guess I'd stay. And they do. So I think this year I got it for free. But every other year, I think we have to pay. But we get the student price. So that's how I get the Jet games. It's a building year, but this is a direction we hoped we did not have to. Yeah, man, we weren't supposed to have to worry about quarterback. I mean, why does it have to be he's a total bust? That's what sucks. Couldn't it just be he was average? Couldn't he just be a Joe Flacco, Matt Ryan? You know what I mean? Couldn't he have just been at least that? Just a quarterback. Derek Carr. Everybody just like, Derek Carr, by the way, is super overrated. He's just a quarterback. Derek Carr. There's nothing special about him. But if we had Derek Carr, we'd have a chance for the Super Bowl. Because sometimes you're built in a way that you just need a quarterback. You don't need a superstar. You don't need Patrick Mahomes. We just need a quarterback. Just a reasonable quarterback. Somebody who can play NFL quarterback, can play the position. Trying to think of a good example, but it's hard because either you consider the star or you suck. But it doesn't make any sense. Maybe Jimmy G is the best example I can give. He's an average quarterback. We'd be a Super Bowl contender if he had him on our team. No question about it. Wasn't Zach supposed to be some kind of film junkie? a workout warrior. Yeah, I know. But maybe it doesn't translate to when he's on the field because he's fucking terrified. He's like he's having a panic attack the whole game. He's running scared. He's like looks terrified. So maybe it's hard to remember any plays or really to execute plays when you're terrified. Yeah, Matt Ryan was an MVP. I see that. But overall in his career, yeah, I mean, everybody. Okay, so that's even more evidence. It's like, why is it that everybody is either, oh, I think this is DirecTV's last year, so I got to figure out what happens next year. I mean, but that's a good point, though. It's like either you're a star. I mean, can somebody name an average quarterback in the NFL? Derek Carr, right? He's got to be considered just average, right? He's got to be considered just average. Either that or you're a star. Who's average? I'm trying to think of an average team. I can't think of it. Daniel Jones, is he just an average quarterback? I feel like if we had Daniel Jones, we'd be okay. We would have won yesterday, that's for sure. Maybe the guy Heineke for Dak Prescott, average quarterback. Somebody has to be average. We can't call everybody elite. I know people say, Prescott, Dak Prescott is like Dallas fans would say he's not average. He's much better than average. Really? Everybody's much better than average. That's impossible because average means average. That's like breaks the definition of the word average. Like someone has got to be. It can't be it's either you stink or you're elite. So Dak Prescott's an average quarterback. His best year was when they had the best offensive line in football. Hasn't done a thing since. Kirk Cousins, okay, but Kirk Cousins is good, right? But maybe he's just average. I don't know. Because a lot of people go crazy for Kirk Cousins. But oh yeah, that's a good one. Andy Dalton in his prime. Average quarterback. An average quarterback means there are games you could be good. See, okay. So you think Dak is better than Derek Carr? I mean, you think that Carr is worse than Dak? Because Dak is kind of overrated, don't you think? He had one good year. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to have Dak. I would take Dak right now in a heartbeat. But the guy's never won anything. Turns the ball over in clutch situations. Right? I mean, if Dak is better than average, he's not much better than average. Because the guy hasn't done anything. He really has? Well, show me his stats. What's so good about him? He's not clutch. You're going to tell me Dak Prescott is clutch? How's he clutch? What game has he won? Don't you have to win some playoff games? I'm not saying he's not better than average. I'm not really arguing that. I'm trying to do an example of who's average. Maybe if you think he's better than Derek Carr, I guess I won't argue that, but because Derek Carr hasn't done anything either, really. But I mean, everybody can't be elite. That's what I'm saying. My point is everybody's elite. Everybody. If you're not a bust, you're elite. That's the way we're acting. Everybody's elite. Okay, how about this? Forget about Dak. Tannehill. Average quarterback, right? Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill. We cannot sit there and say he's elite. I mean, they were trying to. Chris Sims was like trying to rank him in the top 10. But give me a break. He had that running game. It was all play action. He's average. Someone has to be average. It can't be that every single quarterback that's not bad is elite. It can't be. It can't be, right? Somebody's got to be average. There you go. Okay, Tannehill. Okay, so if we had Tannehill, we'd be good, right? We'd be much better than Zach. So we can prove right now by theory that Zach is not, he's definitely way below average. He's definitely bad. Now, people say he's only 23. He's only a rookie. But give me a break. Give me a break. I was there for Matt Ryan's first year. He was good. You knew he was going to be good. Joe Flacco was good his first year. Right away, people were talking about him. He was good. Better than this. He wasn't crap. He wasn't this absolute garbage that we're watching in Zach Wilson. First time Jimmy G got to play football, he was better than Zach. I'm trying to think of a quarterback other than Josh Allen because I know he got off to a bad start in his career. Other than Josh Allen, I'm trying to think of a quarterback that was as bad as Zach Wilson that ended up being a good quarterback. And I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble doing it. I can't think of it. Help me think of it. Who? Like, what quarterback is good now as a quarterback we'd really want, who's really good, who was as bad as Zach Wilson? I can't think of it. Like, in all of history, even. Like, I cannot think of a quarterback that ended up being good to great or anything average or above that was this bad. Oh, yeah. Buffalo made that point too. I see his name, Geno. But it took Geno 10 years, and we don't even have 100% evidence with Geno Smith, right? Because it's only been 8-10 games. Like, we don't know that he could win anything real. We have to see. Because at the end of last year, when he was in for Russell Wilson, he threw interceptions at the end of games. But I get you. He's got to be average. Like, he's got to be good. He's got to be like a little better than average, Geno, right now. I mean, he's leading them. I mean, they're a playoff team at this moment. If the season ended, right? They have a legitimate chance, and they're a rebuild. I mean, what he's doing is amazing. So I think it's safe to call Geno Smith average or above average. But it took 10 years. We don't have 10 years to wait for Zach Wilson to be better than average. You're going to call him great right now? Okay. I haven't been paying attention. Maybe he is. His numbers look great. And I can't argue. When I watched him play, the few games I watched, Seattle games, he looked great. He looked great. He did. He's very efficient. Very efficient. Great leader. I saw one thing where he was on the sidelines yelling at, calming his receiver down, saying, "You'll get the next one. I'll find you again." I think it was Lockett after he dropped the pass, and then he threw a beautiful dime to him the next drive. So, yeah, I won't argue that. He's playing great right now. I mean, I think you have to play more than 7 games before we know that, we're going to call him a great quarterback. But if he plays like this for the next 3 or 4 years before he gets old, or maybe whatever, if he plays like this for the rest of this year, goes into the playoffs, next year, playoff run, he's playing like this, then yeah, I guess we have to consider him a great quarterback. So that's our hope. Our hope is that Zach Wilson would be a great quarterback in 10 years. It's going to be somewhere else. It's not going to be for us. That's for sure. Isn't it sad? This is true. I can't argue this. Before the game yesterday, I would have called anybody who said this a moron. I actually was. I was calling another guy a moron because he was saying that Mariota was better than Zach Wilson. Now I feel stupid. So I would take Mariota. I would take anyone. Any NFL quarterback that's not named Zach Wilson would be better than Zach Wilson. I can't think of one that's worse. What starting quarterback in the NFL is worse than Zach Wilson right now? I can't think of one. And it's like, and I have to say, I think Joe Flacco right now is a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. And I think Mike White might be better than him too. I think that guy we let go, Johnson or whatever his name is, I think he went to Denver, was our backup last year also. I think he might be better than Zach Wilson right now. Guy's 35, never did anything in his career. I think he's better than Zach Wilson. Gardner Minshew would be a good fit with the Jets. He is average, but he had fire passion. Definitely. I would love it. What do you think the Eagles would want for him? I wonder what they'd want for him. I wonder if he's a free agent. I would definitely go for Minshew. Right now, I just want anybody. Anybody who can throw a pass. Sadly, Joe Flacco would be average with a decent line. Okay. Next year we'll have a decent line, but that's a little too little too late. How about the Giant quarterback? Yeah. I mean, Daniel Jones would be better than Zach. He doesn't get me excited, but he'd be better than Zach. Giants didn't pick up his 5th-year option. He's going to cost a lot of money, though. Most backup quarterbacks in the NFL right now are better than Zach. Yeah. I mean, there's no way to argue it. I can't argue it. I can't. I've never watched. I mean, it's like one of the worst performances from a quarterback I've ever sat through. Like it was so bad. It was like every time they got the ball, it was just brutal. He was so bad, like really bad at everything, at every aspect of the game. He was bad. He couldn't read the defense. He was holding on to the ball and he was afraid to throw it. When he did throw it, it was awful and way, way inaccurate. It was a disaster. Oh, you got the stats for me? Great. Cool. Thanks. 72% completion pass, 74 yards, 7. Yeah, that's great. Right now, he's great. You can't argue those numbers. 72% completion rate. You had me at that. 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's great. No one could deny that that's great. That is great quarterback play. You think he'll be a free agent? You know what? He'll be affordable too. What are we? 5 to 7 million? Who's gonna pay him more than that? The Eagles aren't gonna pay a backup quarter. Like no one's gonna pay him to be a backup quarterback and pay him over 5, right? I don't think. So, I mean, what does it take for us to get him for sure? Lock him up. 7, 8 million? I mean, look, he'll want to come here. You have a chance to start. We'll tell him. You compete equal chance than Zach Wilson for the starting job in the offseason. You come into the offseason, you could win the job. No joke, no games, even Steven. The problem is Zach might be a good practicer, but still, he comes out and he stinks the first game. You take him out and you put in Minshew, and that's it. You never look back. I think Henneke is a free agent. This is great news because Jimmy G is a free agent. Henneke is a free agent. Minishew's a free agent. That's a lot of choices because there's also a lot of quarterbacks that coming out in the draft that teams are going to draft. So you're going to have a lot of teams drafting quarterbacks, and you're going to have these guys are just going to sit out there, and they're all better than Zach Wilson. Like, who's not better? Minshew is better than Zach Wilson, right? Free agent. What's his face? You were just Henneke about Jacoby Brissett. He's better than Zach Wilson. I mean, all these guys are better than him. So if we don't see Zach Wilson lights out the rest of the year, unless he plays amazing, assuming he even gets a chance to start again, assuming we see Zach Wilson again this year, like if Zach Wilson gets a chance to play again this year, he has to play amazing. He has to play better than all these guys we're naming. Otherwise, why wouldn't we go out and get one of these guys? They won't be expensive. They're going to be a bargain. They will not be expensive because who else is going to pay them? Where else are they going to go that needs a starter? The crappy teams are going to draft guys. Who's going to pay him? Who's going to pay Minshew $7 million, for example? Who? Who's going to do it? And if they pay him, then Henneke, right? Because maybe that's Washington. But if Washington pays Henneke $7, $8 million, whatever it is, then who's paying Minshew? Someone's going to be available. Jimmy G's the best one out of the whole bunch because he knows the system. But Jimmy G's going to cost the most. Maybe not that much. Under 20, though. Under 20. 15 million? Who's paying Jimmy G more than 15 million? Name a team. I can't think of a team. Unless the Niners do it again and bring him back again. But how long is he going to want to play for the Niners knowing they just can't wait to get Trey Lance in there over him? No question. It's all mental. It's always been mental with him. You can watch his college tape and know it's mental because it's not the guy that played for BYU. The guy who played for BYU threw dimes. And we've seen him throw it in the NFL. We've seen him throw dimes. He just can't get over the psychological obstacle of being an NFL football player and quarterback. It's too hard for him. He can't do it. He was bad because he has zero confidence. I agree 100%. Raiders would probably take 2nd and 4th for Derek Carr. That team is a mess. Yeah, but I don't want to give up picks. I don't know if Derek Carr gives us that much more of an advantage than, certainly not more than a Jimmy G, who knows the system inside out, or even a Minshew. I don't know if he gives us that much more of an advantage. Like, we are a running team. It's a very specific kind of system. We don't need a guy who throws for 400 yards a game or 350 who airs it out. We don't need that. We just need an efficient game manager. That's all we need. The way this defense is playing, give me efficiency. I think Carr would be bad value. I think he'd be over. I think he's going to cost more than he's worth. Personally, I was never a giant fan of his. Yeah, look, anyone who's going to come has to be given the chance to be the starter. I don't think you're going to see Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy is a backup, I think. I don't think that they're going to be serious about bringing him into play. You know what I mean? That's right. We need an Albanian quarterback. Take a look at my face. I'm Albanian. You put me on the field, we're going to win. I'm going to eat stuffed cabbage, the good kind. You know, the good kind of stuffed cabbage with the salted cabbage. A little bit of the pork off the bone. That's very spicy, salty pork. You put a little feta cheese on it, eat it with some bread. I play quarterback. How about Keenum? Tannehill's average, believe me, I know. Well, Tannehill got a lot better when he left Miami because he got Henry, the running back, on his team. So the system was a lot nicer to him. Minshew has the Jets' personality. Blue-collared, passionate, gets others fired up, lunch pail, with a flair for good theatrics. He would have the wide receivers who can adjust to his average passes. We got the kind of receiver. That's all our receivers want. Our receivers just want a guy who could put it in their freaking zip code. You know? Jimmy G is dog water. Well, he's better than Zach Wilson. He went to the Super Bowl. He went to the Super Bowl and he went to the NFC Championship game. And that's better than Zach Wilson. So I'm talking about getting a guy who's better than Zach Wilson. Get me to the Super Bowl. I mean, we haven't been to the Super Bowl since 1969 before I was born, and I'm 50. I'm going to be 52. So, you know, give me a guy that came within one pass away from the Super Bowl. He missed one pass, and they won that Super Bowl. So if that's dog water, I'll take dog water. Because if that's dog water, then Zach is shit water. You know? Because you can't tell me that that Zach Wilson is better than Jimmy G, because he's not even close. Not even close. That's what's scary. It's not even close. It's not even close. Don't trade picks. We aren't the Chiefs or Bills. Yeah, we're not going to trade picks. There's too many free agents. There's free agents. There's guys we can get. And John Postman, this is without his Samuel was hurt a lot. Debo was hurt in and out during the year. This is with injuries to his weapons. They had a lot of trouble getting all the weapons in place. 66.8%. That Frankie from Flatbush said it before the year. That's all Zach needed to do. 66%. We were going to be completely fine. 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I would sign up for that. I would sign up for that. Nobody could say they wouldn't sign up for this. Zach Wilson what's his completion percentage right now? It's under 60 again, right? 58, 57. He has what? 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Plus the worst game in the history of the NFL from a quarterback, I think. Yeah, yesterday. You were trying to be professional? Oh, I see what you're saying. It's the same thing. I gotcha. Look, it's not easy for me to have to admit this stuff and talk like this. I mean, I'm sitting here talking about getting Jimmy G like it would be a prize. I'm sitting here talking about, can we get Minshew? Do you think I wanted to be in this position? Do you think any Jet fan wanted to be in a position where this is what we're talking about? This is the saddest thing. It's so sad. We built this team. Joe Douglas built this team that's so talented and so good, and we don't have a quarterback. It's absolutely horrific. I don't want Jared Goff. Enough said. I am not a Jared Goff fan at all. Don't want him. He's a guy that somebody's got to be below average in this league. That Jared Goff. I don't know. Colt McCoy looked pretty damn good in 2021. 8 games played with a 74%. Is that true? Wow. Who did he play for? Who did he play for? Was that for Arizona? And if so, how come he's not starting? All right, I take it back. I'll take Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy. Zach is 55% in his second year. That's brutal. It's so bad. It's so bad. He's so bad. He's such a bad quarterback. Oh, my God. And people just keep making excuses for him. He's a kid. He's learning. Oh, my God. He's 55% completion. Any other player, any other team, everybody here would be saying he's definitely a bust. There'd be no question or argument that he's a bust if he played for any other team. 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, which should be at least 2 more touchdowns. Okay, 6 and 5, let's say. But still, other quarterbacks may have plays that ended at the 1 or 2 yard line too. So, let's give him 1 and say he should have 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Brutal. It's brutal. No wonder. So that's what they're probably thinking in the locker room. They're thinking, this guy sucks. Can't we just get a guy to throw us the ball? What's amazing is it came 2 weeks after that Buffalo game. That's what's amazing. I know he didn't do anything spectacular in that Buffalo game, but, he was able to throw the ball around a little bit. He didn't throw an interception. He got 70% completion. He was able to manage the game. What happened to him yesterday? Do you imagine how messed up he must be in the head when he heard Saleh say, we're not going to commit to him at quarterback this week? Do you know what a punch to his stomach that must have been? That's brutal to be told. That's brutal. To have the job as strongly as he had it, to literally have it locked up to that level. And be in danger of losing it is unbelievable to me. So, I don't know. You're saying I said they should have traded Tannehill or at least let him walk after rookie year. Oh, look at the 2 Miami fans agreeing with each other. Isn't that cute? The 2 Miami Dolphin fans get along. A bougie. Okay. Jim Page. I'll trust any decision Salah makes. Who's Salah? Our coach is Salah. Just kidding. Someone gave me a hard time because I spelled it like you do. And I didn't spell it with an EH. I was like, come on, that's what you got out of the video? And the guy had to make a comment in the chat section. That's what your takeaway was? Your takeaway was I spelled Salah wrong? Isn't that amazing? But, I like that. Salad. That's funny. Well, I don't think that they will eat Zach Wilson up. I think they are eating him up. I think they're eating Zach Wilson up right now and chewing him, spitting him out for breakfast. It is not going well for Zach Wilson. If Ryan Leaf were with the Jets, he would have disappeared after his first blow up. I never heard from him again. New York media won't tolerate that. Yeah. It's not a good look to sit there and not take accountability for playing poorly. You're just supposed to say, I'm going to try to get better. I played horrible. I feel horrible for my teammates. I let my teammates down. That's what you're supposed to say. Let your teammates come to you and say it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to say that. It's going to be all right. People make the dumbest comments. I think they look for those mistakes so they can just make a comment. Yeah, there are people who love to hear themselves. Like there are people who make comments in some of my videos that are just unbelievable. Like comments where they're not even watching the video. You know what I mean? They just answer the question on the thumbnail. It's like, you're wrong. I disagree with you. It's like, I didn't say it. I was quoting Rex Ryan. It's like, if you watch the video, I was just sitting there telling people what Rex Ryan said. How could I be wrong? I could play back the tape and prove he said it. All right, everybody. I just wanted to stop in and chat a little bit. I'm off this week, so I figure let me just make tons of videos and go live a lot and do all that stuff before Ryan goes on and all the other guys start coming in and piling up, with the live shows. We should get Hendon Hooker. I don't know. Oh, he would be a draft pick, right? Isn't he a college player? Or Tyler Van Dyke. I don't know if we want to start over with a rookie. I think we want to bring in a veteran. But, what do I know? Right? What do I know? Maybe they do want to get a young player. Maybe they do want to bring in a rookie again. I mean, what do I know? I don't know how long-term the plan is. Maybe they go with Mike White until a rookie is ready. Who knows? Zach Wilson. I mean, right now, if they keep Zach Wilson in, they literally have to design a game plan on how to be able to move the ball with him with such a detriment. If Zach Wilson did this in any other city, he'd get a little pass or a huge pass, but not in the Big Apple. The New York sports media will hold players' feet to fire. Well, we'll see. He's been here before. It's not the first bad game he's had. Yeah, he did get hurt, didn't he? I heard somebody got hurt. That's why that name sounds familiar. Didn't he get really injured? That's awful. I feel horrible for the kid. Awful. Horrible, horrible, horrendous news. But maybe that will help get him, not help him, but it doesn't mean he won't get drafted. Right? You get a bargain. You get him in the second. You get him on maybe he slips to the third round. You grab him in the third round. Worst case scenario, he ends up being a backup quarterback. Best case scenario, ends up being a very good NFL quarterback. Doesn't solve our problem now, though. It doesn't now. Zach has gotten many passes. And Hooker's almost 25. Wow. And come on, he sleeps with people for money. We don't need that distraction in our clubhouse. You know what I mean? That was a joke. Anyway, I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you tonight in the chats. There's a lot of shows going on tonight, I'm sure. So I'll see you then. I'm leaving. I'm not happy. I'm still upset from yesterday. I thought I'd feel better, but I don't. It sucks. Anyway, let me leave you with this. We are live. We got Harry W. We got Richie from Jets Media, Matt O'Leary, Iowa Jets fan, who in the house. We got Dom C in the house. We got Steve, live, CEO of the Jet Lounge. So I knew I'd get rich on my channel. See what's going on. Yeah, there we go.
Jets by $1 million today.
Yeah.